What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Broadway Joel, the voice of Dominican boxing, and today I was supposed to interview Subrio Matias, uh, but unfortunately, uh, I'm not even. It's not going to happen today. We're trying to reschedule. I'm not going to go into further details. I'm a little annoyed. I wasn't planning on having a show today, as meaning like just me talking boxing and stuff like that. That's why I came on late. Y'all know I'm always on time. I always come on at 7, but all my notes was for the interview. So like, you get what I'm saying? I have notes and stuff like that. Like I prepare. It's just kind of a little bit like homework for me. So then when he canceled on me, literally like, I'm not even gonna get into details. But point is, we're trying to reschedule me and Subrio Matias. We're trying to reschedule possibly this weekend, possibly not. We'll see. But yeah, the reason I'm late, I had to make other notes for this show and stuff like that. For there's a lot going on in boxing, so we'll talk about that, and also we'll talk about Dominican boxing as well. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know that's my specialty. Y'all know I know all the rumors, and I'm the source. I'm the everything. So of course, we could definitely talk Dominican boxing. But as far as I'm using a laptop mic. Hold on.
All right, all right. Much better now, right? All right. I think I fixed it. I'm now using my mic, you know. But yeah, no, I appreciate that, Randy. And Ariel, thank you so much for the compliment. I really appreciate that, man. It's very nice of you. But yeah, like I was saying, Subrio canceled on me, but well, I want to say he wanted to reschedule. I'll phrase it that way. But big news for you guys who are big Teofimo fans, and I was up until started making some weird comments and weird choice of words and stuff like that. But Teofimo looks like his next fight will be against Josh Taylor. The WB, the one they were already in negotiations, and two, the WBO has announced that that's a mandatory for Taylor. So whether they were negotiating or not, the WBO is now mandating it. So now they're gonna have to fight. They're on the same side. They're both on top rank, so it shouldn't be that hard of a fight. Teofimo in the past has said that he's willing to travel to the UK, that's not a problem whatsoever. And Josh Taylor, I'm pretty sure he's happy to welcome him in his country. I That's a fight that I will be interested in. Hold on. I want to address my man Ron Boy. Ron Boy, I apologize. Me and Subrio, we're trying to reschedule. I know you a big Subrio fan. We're trying to reschedule. He couldn't make it today. We're trying to reschedule though. It's not completely off, but I'll keep you up to date as far as when that interview will happen. But oh yeah, getting back to what I was saying, as far as Teofimo and Josh Taylor, uh, there's again the strong rumors and that the fight will be in the UK. I mean, that's an interesting choice for me. I don't know what to make of Teofimo, to be honest with you. I don't. I wish I can tell you like I know where he's at, but he has a lot of mental problems. You know what I'm saying? And I did not like how he looked against Pedro Campa. I did not like how he looked against Sandor Martin, which I was actually there live in Madison Square Garden at the fight. And when they were announcing the who won, I wasn't sure who won. I didn't score the fight, to be fair, but it almost felt to me that Sandor got the better of it. He dropped him once, possibly twice, depending on if you think that second knockdown was a knockdown or if he cupped the back of his head and pulled him down a little bit. It's close, so I'm not. I don't know which way I lean. I lean more towards it wasn't a knockdown, but hey, it possibly could have been. It was that close of a knockdown, for lack of a better term. But yeah, no, I didn't think he looked good in that fight either. So his two fights at 140 didn't look good, and then his fight at 135, last fight at 135 against George Kambosos, he took an L and he got dropped. You get what I'm saying? So it's it's uh 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 it's worrisome that he hasn't looked good in his last three fights. Yeah, I was gonna say last two, but yeah, I want to say he didn't look like himself in that Kambosos fight either. He was fighting like just going to fight, going to brawl, and going to like to knock him out, and I'm gonna get him and knock him out in the first round. And it's like no game plan, no setting up punches, no, no nothing. So what I will say is Teofimo has a talent. It just, I don't know where he is at mentally. So for that fight, and it's in Josh Taylor's hometown. They're saying in the UK. I'm not sure if it's his hometown, but home country, let's say that. And it's in his home country. We've seen him already get a favorable decision over Jack Catterall. So, like, can Teofimo get a decision? Can he even go 12? I don't know. Can he go 12 with Josh Taylor? Josh Taylor's a good puncher, man. He can bang. Also, there's the question of, is Josh Taylor weight drained at 140? I personally don't think that. I think that that he, excuse me, I'm sorry, I lost track of what I was saying. I was reading the comments but yeah, Josh Taylor, I don't think he's weight drained at that weight class. Before the fight, he did an interview with Michelle Joy Phelps, talk about how, I can fight at 140 for the rest of my career. I feel great at the weight. I ain't have no problem making a weight, blah, 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 blah. Okay, he said that. And then after the weigh-in, he put a picture of himself at the Ramirez fight and a picture of himself at the Catterall weigh-in. Both weigh-ins, the Ramirez weigh-in and the Catterall weigh-in. And he was saying something to the effect like, I'm bigger and stronger and faster than I ever been. I made the weight. I'm good, or something like that. Something along those lines. And it's like, yo, at some point I gotta hold you to your words, bro. Not like, and it's not like, had he just said, hey man, I think I'm making the weight fine. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not worried about it. Had he just said that, I wouldn't have held him to it. But when you say you feel like you can make this weight and fight at this weight for the rest of your career, that worries me. That worries me. That lets me know that like, you were good. You made that weight fine. I'm trying to find because I bookmarked it. There we go. Look right here. Hold on one second. Let me yeah, because I was looking for it. Here we go. Look, this is Josh Taylor immediately after the weigh-in. He goes, the pick on the left is me weighing in for Ramirez fight. The right was today. I'm bigger, faster, and stronger. Tomorrow, I'm going to be a beast. Also, you got to remember, in that fight, the typical way a drained fighter fights is starts off hot and then just kind of fades off because he doesn't have enough, fluids in his body and stuff like that. Josh Taylor, the opposite happened. He started off slow and then went on stronger. So, like, he wasn't drained. He just had a bad performance and was like, you know what? That's a good excuse. Yo, I was weight drained. The weight is hard for me, even though now I'm fighting. I'm fighting at 140 again. It's not like, oh shit, I moved up afterwards. Or, I don't know. Or maybe he hired a dietitian or something like that. But my point is, at some point, I got to hold you accountable for your words. You said you can make this weight for the rest of your career. Had he just said, no, listen, I made the weight and, tomorrow's a fight and that's it. Had he just said that, I wouldn't hold him too much of it because what he's supposed to say, yo, I'm weight drained. No. But you say you can make the weight for the rest of your career? That's a big statement. Also, the fact that you didn't fade during the fight, and on top of that, you put the tweet out saying you're bigger, stronger, and faster than you ever been. And then you didn't fade in the fight. You started off slow and got stronger as the fight went on. Is the total opposite of being weight trained. It's just, I'm not accepting that as an excuse. I'm not. And he wasn't weight trained, and he's not. Shout out to Ariel Alvarado, who's sending me a $5 super chat to support the channel, support the growth of the channel. Y'all don't understand how these super chats are important for the channel, how it helps me grow, how helps me pay tickets and to fly out and hotels and stuff like that. $5, y'all may think like, oh, it's nothing. It is something. To me, it's something. You know what I'm saying? It could get me, if it could just pay part of my Uber ride to the airport so I can go to fly out to Vegas to cover an event, cover these Dominicans, for sure, man. All the help is wanted, needed, and thank you so much, Aria. I'm a Teo fan, But if he's not on his aim game mentally and physically, I think Taylor can be here bigger, stronger, and technically sound. I actually would have to agree with you. Now, if you telling me Teo is a Teofimo from the Loma fight, then I'm like, okay, all right. Well, I don't know who wins. I don't know who the favorite. It's a 50-50 fight. You know what I'm saying? But I haven't seen that since. It's been 3 fights and he hasn't looked like that since. And to me, it's kind of like he has the yips. I don't know. I don't know if y'all familiar with that terms. Like like in sports, just randomly it happened. I don't know if you guys remember. Rick Ankiel was a baseball player. Excuse me if you guys are not baseball fans, but he caught the yips. He was a pitcher. And he just couldn't hit the strike zone for whatever reason. He caught the yips. He caught the yips so bad he had to switch positions. He ended up becoming a right fielder. And same thing with a second baseman that used to play for the Yankees, Chuck Knobloch. He caught the yips. And he just, for whatever reason, could not throw the ball to first base. He would throw the ball way over the first baseman's head. He had the yips. I don't know. And he just kept doing it. And it's just something psychological that messes with you, and you got to get over it. And with Teofimo, I think what part of the reason why he has the yips and why he hasn't gone over it is because he hasn't accepted the loss to Kambosos. He still feels like he was robbed and the zone was making it set him up, and that he really won the fight, and that, it's just a bunch of excuses. Oh, I was weight drained, and I had a lung problem and this and that. And listen, the lung problem, the weight drain, I'm not going to sit here and say that he was lying, but the way to move forward from a loss is accepting you lost. Just being like, yo, man, he was the better man that night. If I ever meet him in the ring ever again, I'm going to beat the fuck out of him. I guarantee you. If he was to talk like that, then, at the end of the day, I got to give you respect. You representing for your team. You taking your L as a man, and fighters are gonna take L's. I'm a Mayweather fan in the ring. I was a Mayweather fan in the ring, but I never was like, if he took a loss, the rest of his career is over. It's like, I never subscribed to that. That's when people go, oh, Michelle's a bomb now and this and that. Like, boxing fans be so fickle. Be mad fickle. I'm like, we can't be like that. Like, fighters don't take risks. Fighters don't take risks. Then they take a risk, take an L, and all of a sudden he's a bum. So I'm not saying that Teofimo off that one loss to Kambosos is a bomb or anything like that. What I am saying, though, is that he hasn't looked right since. And I think part of that is mentally what happened there. If he was to just accept that loss, even if you make the excuses, but just be like, not saying that you got robbed or nothing like that. Because, bro, I was at that. That's another fight. I was there live. Yo, bro, you lost that fight. You lost that fight fair and square. You know what I'm saying? You predicted you was going to knock him out in the first round. You got dropped in the first round. Like, nah. And Kambosos came on real strong to end the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got dropped in the 10th, but then in the 11th and 12th, he won those rounds pretty clear. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if Teo would have pulled out those last 2 rounds, he would have got the W, but he didn't. So he needs to just accept that loss, and I think he'll be better mentally. Also, this weekend, one of my favorite divisions, and when I say one of my favorite divisions, I don't mean one of my favorite divisions currently. I mean this this division, and I'm talking about the featherweight division, I've always been a fan of. I was a big Gary Russell fan back when he fought at 126. I was a big Mikey Garcia fan back when he fought at 126. I was a big Juan Ma Lopez fan back when he fought at 126. So something about this division that I always like the fights and fighters that come out of this division. So this Saturday, Mauricio Lara fights Lee Wood for the WBA featherweight title. A lot of people are totally writing off Lee Wood, and to be honest, the recent success Mexico has had over the UK at fights, man, it's like Mauricio Lara went over there, beat Warrington. Luis Alberto Lopez beat Warrington. Andy Ruiz beat Joshua. Canelo, he's Callum Smith, and like Mexico really, really has a big advantage over the UK in terms of head-to-head fights. But Lee Wood is a good fighter. He's a puncher, and he has experience. I like him. I'm not picking him, but if he won by decision, I wouldn't be surprised. And he is a puncher. I've seen him knock people out with that nasty left hook. And Mauricio Lara isn't exactly Floyd Mayweather in the ring. He reminds me a lot, and I mean a lot. There's another featherweight that I was a big fan of, by the way. He reminds me a lot of Orlando Salido. Y'all remember him? He fought Juanma twice. He beat him twice in Puerto Rico. He fought Lomachenko. He fought Mikey Garcia. Those are the guys that he fought. So I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Mauricio Lara. I do think he gets the stoppage. I think he's just so relentless, and whatever Lee Wood hits him with, I'm not saying he's gonna walk through it. What I'm saying is he'll just deal with the pain because he knows he's getting his in. He's great at going to the body as well. He hits you in the arms and the head, in the shoulders. And he's like a locomotive just coming through. Boom, boom, boom. He's a little Tasmanian devil, man. I'm a big fan of Mauricio Lara. And I'm looking forward to how he shows out in this fight. It's gonna be an exciting fight. I'm actually really, really excited for it. Lee Wood actually was in my he won knockout of the year for me last year when he knocked out Mike Conlon. That was knockout of the year. That was also a very entertaining fight, a candidate for fight of the year, where if somebody had that as fight of the year, I wouldn't, argue too much. That wasn't my pick, but I wouldn't argue too much. As a matter of fact, I got to rewatch that fight. That was a real entertaining fight. Keeping the news in England, Anthony Joshua will be fighting Jermaine Franklin, who's coming off a loss of he's coming off a loss to Dillian White. It was actually a really close fight, a 50-50 fight that could have gone either way. It didn't go Jermaine Franklin's way, but he still got the Anthony Joshua fight. So that's, I'm good for him. Good for him. Because, honestly, I'm not that interested in seeing Dillian White fight anymore. I'm good on that, to be honest with you. Like, he gasses out quick. I don't think he would have been able to beat AJ, to be honest with you. Another wrinkle about that fight that I find really interesting is that Anthony Joshua is actually training now with Derrick James. Derrick James he won Trainer of the Year last year, and he probably I don't want to say probably, he is the best trainer in boxing currently. I want to say, I like Robert Garcia a lot. Y'all know Bob Santos is my guy. Who else has a good stable? Freddie Roach. He doesn't really have a stable now. He has Elvis and Gabe Rosado, but he doesn't really have a stable. But yeah, I want to say the best trainer in all of boxing currently right now is Derrick James, and now he has Anthony Joshua. I find it very interesting. From what I understand, most of the training camp will be held in Texas, which is good, which is what I've always wanted for Anthony Joshua. I wanted Anthony Joshua to leave his comfort zone of the UK and get out there and train in America. Get out of your comfort zone. That's the only way you're going to grow. That's something that Tyson Fury does. He gets out of his comfort zone and he trains in America and goes, and then has his fights in America and then flies back to the UK with all that money. So I think this is good for him. I'm interested to see what changes he makes in Joshua. Also, if he has any ability to get in his mind. I hope he can get in his mind and help him out as far as mentally, because I feel like that's that's probably like 80% of Joshua's problems. The other 20, I'll say, is conditioning. He does tend to fade a little bit in fights, but I never criticize him too much about that because he's a big dude. You know what I'm saying? He was 6'6", 240. Like, you lugging around a lot of weight to fight 12 rounds. So I don't criticize it too much. Yes, for sure. You do want to be in better shape. And if maybe losing 10 pounds is better for your conditioning, maybe that's the route you go. But if he could get that mental game down and maybe a better game plan and sharper punches and do a little bit more, maybe that's the route to go. And I actually didn't think he looked bad against Garcia, with Robert Garcia. I thought that he just faded a little bit towards the end with Usyk, and Usyk is he's Usyk. By the way, also news that dropped today: the undercard from David Benavidez and Caleb Plant has been announced today officially. I knew about it. I knew the undercard for a little bit, but today was announced officially. Before this, there was rumors that De Los Santos is going to be on this undercard, Edwin De Los Santos, and that's what I kept telling you guys, and it didn't happen. But just know these are like as legit as the sources get. So it wasn't like I got burned by somebody questionable. So and a lot of times things change. You know what I'm saying? There may be plans for you somewhere, and then things happen. And by the way, I don't think Pitbull's taking that De Los Santos fight. He's not. I'm thinking, because if y'all saw Sean Gibbons in his interview with Punch Drunk Boxing talk about, what's De Los Santos done, and he needs to go earn it and go get a title, and we looking for big fights, even though you turned down Ryan Garcia, even though you turned down Shakur Stevenson, and even though in your last fight you fought a featherweight that who the fuck has he beat? Who the fuck on his resume is better than Rayo? Let's take it a step further. Who is on Pitbull Cruz's resume is better than Rayo? It's like, anyway, Sean Gibbons, I need to get him on my channel because he got some explaining to do. He gets on my channel, I'm getting all the answers out of him for sure. But let me not veer off. Benavidez versus Plant, the undercard was announced. The co-main event is Jesus Ramos versus Joey Spencer. I like that fight. That's actually a really good co-main event. Spencer has been criticized because people feel like he gets favoritism. Yeah, y'all know why people feel he gets favoritism. And Jesus Ramos is somebody who's reeled off a couple good wins. He's been on pay-per-view undercards before. He was on Tank's pay-per-view undercard not long ago on the Rolly undercard. So this is a big fight. This is between two undefeated prospects. The winner of this fight definitely will take a big step forward. At least in my book, he would. He would take a big step forward. Oh, my man Truth is hopping on. Truth, what's going on, bro?
Yo, what's good, my boy?
Nothing much. I just got to the topic that of David Benavidez, Caleb Plant, the undercard. So the first fight is the co-main event. Actually, I'm glad you on. I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the co-main event between Jesus Ramos and Joey Spencer?
I think it's another one of those good crossroads fights. I think that PBC is definitely. I don't even want to say sure. The last time we seen Jesus Ramos, he was fighting Santa Maria. Remember, Santa Maria had kind of put a beating on Abel Ramos, which is the uncle. So I don't know what was the thought process in moving Santa Maria up to 54 to fight Ramos, but he gave Ramos a really close fight. I was in the arena for that fight. That was a really close fight. And I think PBC or whoever is his manager or whoever has to deal with these fighters may or may not know what he have. Same thing with Joey Spencer. We just seen him against I think it was the guy named Kevin Delgado, something like that. Mm-hmm. We just seen him in that fight. Now he looked good, but I don't think we know what we have on our hands, right? So neither one of these guys is, I guess, a blue chip prospect in that perspective. So you take two prospects, both undefeated, both have showed signs that they could possibly be the next guy up. Same division. Why not?
No, I agree. And definitely this is a way to separate yourself from the pack, because right now they both kind of like just random motherfuckers like at 54 that are undefeated. It's kind of like neither of them have separated from themselves from the pack as far as like, no, I'm the prospect to look at. And if you could eliminate somebody before they get up, that's a way to step up forward. You know what I'm saying? Get a little bit of rub off him and be like, hey, boom, I'm now up to the next level. So I like the fight in terms of that. Stylistically, I also like the fight as well. And I think this is a perfect time. And for a co-main event, I think it's appropriate.
Yeah, nah, for sure. I think that's a good fight. But historically, man, I guess one thing I will definitely give, I mean, we give these guys credit a lot, but one thing I'll give the PBC or whoever's moving fighters over there credit as far as they've always matched their, potential rising stars. They've always matched them tough. I remember seeing Carlos Balderas. Remember that when he was coming up and he got he got knocked out, if I'm not mistaken. He got knocked out and all of that. We just seen a tough fight with Michelle and Frank. It's a lot of these tough fights that get made. Actually, even Trayvon Marshall, the prospect, the PBC prospect of the year, he got Justin Deloach next in March. So again, these guys on the rise, they get matched tough. We see it with Rayo and De Los Santos. They matching these guys tough, man. You know what I mean? So I definitely give him credit for that. I think that's a very good fight.
Okay. Speaking of Rayo, he's actually on the undercard. This is actually a battle of the Dominican victims. shout out to my man Hector Luis Garcia and Edwin De Los Santos, who both beat the shit out of these two guys. Both of them got lumped up. Both of them were very sore when they got back to their hotel room. Yeah. Chris Colbert versus Rayo Valenzuela. I'll go first on this. And so I initially was surprised that Chris Colbert is moving up in weight and taking a fight that I don't feel like it was necessary. And I think he's the one taking the bigger risk because he's not the puncher. So keeping Valenzuela off of him may be a little bit difficult. He does have good boxing ability, but I think that Rayo, who's an explosive fighter, a big puncher, that's I don't understand why Colbert would take the fight. I like the fight in terms of it's a crossroads fight. It's a fight where let which Dominican beat him up worse. Maybe Rayo got beat up worse, but you know what I'm saying. So it keeps whoever wins it ages better for one of my Dominicans. So
I'm gonna say Colbert took it worse. I'm gonna say Colbert got the worst of it.
Wait, you thought Colbert got it worse than Rayo? He might have went to the hospital after that. He got hit with some shots,
but
he got knocked out.
But check me out. Rayo went out on his shield. Chris Colbert tucked it in over the course of 12 rounds, bro.
He did run those last like 2 rounds.
He packed it in. No dog. He packed it in. You get what I'm saying? I'd rather somebody knock me out in 4 rounds than for me.
It was 3. It was 3.
Okay, 3. I'd rather you knock me out in 3, right? Because I could say, you know what, I ain't have a good camp. But you come in, you talking hot like this, and then not only do I drop you, but I beat you up and embarrass you over 12 rounds. I take your interim belt, and then the next fight I become champion, and then I get the tank fight, and you ain't fight yet.
No, it's true. I mean, I'm gonna disagree, but I definitely see your point. I just think that but first of all, by the way, a storyline to that. Both those fights were taken by the Dominicans on last minute notice. Yep. Now the Garcia, he took it on 19 days notice, and the De Los Santos, he took it on a week's notice. So both took those fights on short notice. Both were being set up to lose. If we're being honest, that's just that. If you know the sport, that's kind of how it was being lined up. So they were both big upsets. I just think the way, it almost just felt like every punch Rayo was hit with, it was like boom, boom, boom. It was like like his head was snapping back, body shots were hurting him. He got dropped 3-4 times or something like that. And it got to the point when the referee stopped it and he took him to the corner. He was like, yo, bro, you were getting hit too much. I don't want to see you get embarrassed, man. He goes, live to fight another day. Like, it was bad. And the way he was being promoted, so hard by PBC, keeping him active. He was fighting on FS1, fighting on pay-per-view undercards. And then boom, this guy just ruined your fucking momentum. And again, he also hasn't fought since.
But see, bro, what I'm saying is, think about it. Now think about a boxer and think about a boxer's psyche. If you knock me out in 3 rounds, bro, I could convince myself that I just came out with the wrong game plan against a puncher. For sure, right? And that's probably what he did. He probably say, listen, you wasn't focused hard on this camp. We had a bad game plan, late replacement. But if I beat you up over 12 rounds and you're supposed to be a superior boxer than me, and you drop me, I show no dog. Like, that's a conversation within yourself that you really got to think about. You get what I'm saying? Like, you got to, what T.O. say? Do I still got it? You know what I'm saying, bro?
No, I get it.
You know what I'm saying? Because you got it. At this point, it wasn't the kid you had. You had a good camp. You lasted for 12 rounds. It wasn't the tank, bro.
Yeah.
No, he was better than you completely. Just
for sure. People were telling me, I wish Ezra would hop on. Ezra was telling me, oh, in the rematch, I think Cobra would beat Hector. I'm like, yo, bro, what fight did you watch? He just beat the fuck out of him for 12 rounds.
Yeah, and what I will say is, just to be truthful, I think that the Hector, I think that this Rayo and Chris Cobra fight, I really feel like it's going to be a snooze fest. I think that, because if you remember, the knock on Chris Cobra earlier was that he was a boring fighter. All that coming up before, I forgot which fight it was in particular. I know he was fighting a guy. What's the guy? I don't know. I think it was from Panama. I forgot who he was fighting.
Nunez?
Might have, no, his last name ended with an A. It was an A. He had
it was like Astrolabia or some shit like that.
Well, no, not Astrolabia. That's a Filipino short dude, but it was a Panamanian fight or some guy like that.
I'm gonna get it right now.
Yeah, he put the beats on him. He put the beats on that guy, and then he went in there and put the beats on King Tug, right? And I think he got away from who he was as a fighter. Chris Cobra is a slick boxer. That's it. He's not a guy to stand in the pocket with you. He's not a power puncher. None of that shit. He's a slick fighter, and I think that getting a knockout win and then being able to just kind of go in there, wail on a guy and beat him up because you was bigger and faster, then I think he went into that Hector Garcia fight with the complete wrong game plan. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, going back to the Rayo fight, obviously you wasn't even a big puncher at 130. So now you going up against a guy that's young, a guy that's a strong puncher at 130. You have to revert back to what you do best, and that's box. I think he's gonna do a lot of holding, a lot of movement, a lot of circling. He's gonna try to not let Rayo load them power shots up. I think it's gonna be a very boring fight.
So you got Cobra winning?
No.
Oh, okay. No, you made it seem like he's gonna have control of the fight and he's gonna one that dominate and make the fight his fight. So I thought you were picking him.
No. I think I got Rayo. I think Rayo.
By stoppage or
I think Rayo gonna stop him. But again, we gotta see, man, because again, you know what the knocker is on Jose Benavidez fighters. You know what I mean? We got to see. I think this is a crossroad fight. I think that whoever loses is gonna have a for sale sign outside.
Yeah, I got Valenzuela winning by decision. I think Colbert is crafty enough, and we've seen that in the Hector fight to survive the 12 rounds. Oh, I'm not even sure if this is a 12 or a 10 round fight, but I think he's crafty enough. Is it 10 rounder?
It's probably. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, me too. But I wasn't sure. But I think Valenzuela got it by decision. I think Colbert is crafty enough to move around, hold, and do all this thing and set traps and win a couple rounds. But I don't think he's strong enough or hits hard enough to keep Valenzuela off of him and to deal with that kind of firepower. I just don't think he's strong enough. And I'm quite honest, I don't think he's 100% dedicated in the sport.
Yeah, and because remember, he was supposed to be the guy in place of Michelle Rivera to fight Frank Martin, but he could not make weight in time. And so if you're a 130-pound fighter and you can't even make the next weight class up, that tells me you have to damn near be completely out the gym.
No, I get it. No, for sure.
So
I don't think he takes a sport as serious as others, like like Richardson Hitchens, man, from here in New York. Man, his work ethic, people rave about it, how hard he works, and he doesn't cut no corners. And I'm not gonna say nothing about Chris Colbert, what I heard, but I will say is if you saw his documentary, on Netflix, I think it's called Undisputed. I forget the name of it, but he was showing signs of being lazy then, and how he went to Miami and he sparred. It's funny, he sparred a Dominican, Juan Carlos Payano, and Juan Carlos Payano put it on him. Maybe it's something about Dominicans, he can't fight him, but put it on him in sparring. And they were telling him how Payano lives in the gym. Literally, he fucking had a bed there and stuff like that. And Colbert was like, man, I would never live in no stinking ass gym and this and that. And they were like, yeah, we know you're not willing to pay the price to become a champion. He was just like, no, like basically making excuses as to why he wasn't working hard. So this is a habit. This is who he is, apparently, if we're going by what we saw in the documentary. And the fact that he wasn't in shape for a big fight against Frank Martin, which would have been if he would have, let's just say, took that fight and beat him, he would have been back into, back in play where he was before the loss to Hector. So,
exactly.
Yeah. So moving on from that fight, the two Dominican sons, moving on from that fight. Cody Crowley will be fighting Abel Ramos, the uncle of Jesus Ramos, who we just mentioned, who's going to be in the co-main event. What's your thought on that fight? I've only seen Cody Crowley fight once, so I may not have the best opinion, so I kind of want to know yours.
I seen him fight more than once. I seen him fight actually the guy that was what's his name? Abdul Karim, was that his name? Or
I saw him fight. I forget the guy's name, but I saw him fight on I think it was Errol Spence's undercard.
So that guy was, I forgot his name. I think he been going to K, but he was the mandatory for Errol Spence for the IBF. And I seen him going there. I think he got dropped early on that fight. He came on, but I think Cody Crowley got a typical kind of come forward style. He could take some punches, stuff like that. I really don't understand I don't understand the matchmaking with this fight. You got a guy that's undefeated, and you matching him against Abel Ramos, who's coming off a loss, and then, oh, by the way, this is a WBC title eliminator, not the final eliminator. But I just think that it was other guys that Cody Crowley could have been matched with. It could have been some better matchmaking to that point. I think he's going to go in there. I think he's going to handle business versus Abel Ramos. But again, with these fighters being so inactive, I just don't see the point of this fight, right? I mean, now I guess somebody will say something different, but I just really don't see the point of this fight. So we're going to see Cody Crowley fight in whenever they fight, and then we probably won't see him until next year. So again, like
next year, but what I will say is, who would you have wanted him to see him fight? Because I'll be honest, that Spence, he's not getting that. Crawford, he's not getting that. Virgil's already got a fight. Boots, that wasn't gonna happen. Like who would you have wanted to see him fight that would have satisfied you?
Truthfully, I would have liked to see him fight a guy like Luke Santa Maria. Santa Maria had no business going in 54 to fight Jesus Ramos. He had already beat Abel Ramos, and his next fight should have been at 47 because he beat Abel Ramos. Before that, I think he had
didn't he beat Michael Fox too? Didn't he beat Michael Fox?
He had a couple good fights, man. He had a good run, a good little run, and I don't know why they moved him up to 154.
And then he had a close fight. He had a close fight with who did he have a close fight with? Oh, it might have been that Abel Ramos fight that I'm confusing.
And I think, didn't he beat Devin Alexander too? He beat Devin Alexander because he was on that. He was on the card with Mike Fox, that Maestri card. He was on that card as well. I think he beat Devin Alexander on that card. Now, granted, that wasn't prom Devin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but it's still,
it's a name, right? We playing a boxing game. That's a name. So I'll be wanting guys like that to get the shot, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't got the rankings in front of me, but I'm sure I could find a couple guys in the WBC rankings that's better than that fight. But again, you know, we'll see.
No, I agree. I agree. And that's part of one of my criticisms that I have with top rank cards. A lot of the top rank cards, and I know this is a PBC card. I'm just speaking in general. A lot of the top rank cards be like a bunch of fucking prospects, like from top to bottom, and the only fight that's even somewhat close to competitive is the main event, and even that's a fucking squash match. And I'm like, yo, like, you know, I'm a paying customer. I ain't come to pay see fucking Troy Isley beat up on a fucking plumber. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be a lot of shit like that. But yeah, I prefer competitive fights, especially if these fighters are not going to be as active. Like, I'll be feeling like I understand why Spence and you know and Fury and AJ and Javante Davis, why they fight only once or twice a year. I get it. But like when you're a guy like Cody Crowley, when you're a guy like Carlos Adames, when you a guy like, you know, I'm trying to think of another name, you know, whoever, I think you should fight 3 or 4 times a year. Like I don't see what's the point of fighting only twice. It's very hard to develop a fan base and develop any kind of consistency if you're only fighting twice. If you're fighting once in January and the next time you fight is in September and then that's it, and then you don't fight until the next April. And it's like, damn, like when?
Yeah, that's crazy. I start to wonder though. Like, because again, we know that PBC is not it's just a show, right? But so I start to wonder, like, some of these guys who we would like to see fight more, could they not go on other platforms and fight? Like, for example, and this is a smaller guy, but like Kelvin Davis, the older brother of Keyshawn Davis.
Yes.
They're both signed to Top Rank. They're both are top rank fighters. But I happened to be watching a Pro Box card one Friday. I think it was a Brandon Glanton card, and Kelvin Davis was on the undercard of a Pro Box. He was on the undercard of a Pro Box fight. So
you sure he's a top rank fighter?
Yeah, he is a top rank fighter.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, just because he fought on Top Rank don't mean he a top rank fighter. So
he consistently fights on Top Rank. So, and I think he's on the next top rank card as well. I think he's on that April 1st card, if I'm not mistaken. But I know he's fought on Top Rank like 4 times already. So if he's not a top rank fighter, he definitely getting good treatment over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know the answer to that question because technically Al Heyman is not a promoter, so I don't see, like, let's say I'm trying to think of a name.
No, a perfect name, a guy like Edwin De Los Santos.
Yeah,
right? A guy like Edwin De Los Santos. Now I know he's a Samson guy, but I'm sure there have to be some. But see, I think the biggest issue is that now a lot of and I hate talking business, but I feel like a lot of the managers, the people that's in charge of these guys' career, they don't want to put up the money, right? They rather Showtime bring the bag to Espinoza or Heyman and say, hey, this is the bag, y'all put the fights together. And then they get made like that. Some of these guys, because as a manager, if you aren't getting that type of big network money, well, guess what you have to do as that guy's manager? Not only do you have to pay your fighter, you have to pay the opposition. So if you got a guy, and let's just say on the low end, let's say your guy makes $50,000-$60,000 for a fight, right? That's not in the world of boxing, that's not a crazy amount of money. But are you willing to pay his opponent $30,000? So are you willing to be $80,000 in on the main event? And then if it doesn't have a network to show it on, you're going to be on some app and you're going to lose money.
It's so complicated because a lot of times in boxing, boxing is built off relationships. Your relationship with your promoter, your relationship with your manager, relationship with your network. So a lot of times, if maybe even technically you can leave PBC and go fight on DAZN or go fight on ESPN. When you try, and I'm not, by the way, and I'm using Showtime as an example. I'm like, it could be the guy from ESPN, it could be the guy from DAZN. I'm just using them as an example. You go fight on another platform, they may feel a certain way. And I don't know if that's to be true or not, but I have heard people that want to be very careful when they make certain moves with their career, because they're like, oh, I don't want to piss off these guys. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure if that has something to do with it. But it doesn't. It's not something that like, oh man, that doesn't fit in my head to be a possibility. That definitely, I can definitely picture that being one of the reasons.
Nah, for sure. But I wasn't even talking about that big. Like I know you got some promoters. Like I know there's a guy that promotes fights in my local area, in around the States. Cameron Davies, actually, Floyd Schofield was a Cameron Davies fighter before he got his deal with Golden Boy. Now they put on mid to low level cards. Usually a lot of guys that's kind of we don't really know, or guys that are up and coming. A lot of the fighters got to sell tickets themselves and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? But and then they have a little streaming thing that they kind of stream their fights on. Nothing big, nothing major. I'm not even talking about a PBC guy or top ranked guy going over and crossing another one of the big platforms. I'm just simply saying maybe do a local show, not necessarily a 200 seat club show, but maybe do a local 2,000-3,000
with no TV,
to stay active.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, and I won't mention the guy's name. There was a manager I had a conversation with sometime last year, and they were concerned about their fighter not being active, and they were like, we're just gonna approach these people to see if we can make a fight in the Dominican Republic just to keep them active, and the response was no. And if he wants to stay busy fight, we'll just throw him on the off TV undercard. And it was just a bunch, like a lot of things were being very difficult when he couldn't get a TV fight. So he was just like, okay, I'll just get him. I can set up my own stay busy fight in the Dominican Republic. Then automatically fights started popping up once that got brought up. So I'm not too sure what the politics of that is, but for whatever reason, they won't allow it. They won't allow it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the business. I try to not dabble too deep into the business because
I know. Unfortunately, it's like when you talk boxing, at some point you're gonna end up talking business. You know what I'm saying? At some point, that's what's to come. What else is going? Before you had hopped on, I was talking about Teofimo versus Josh Taylor. What's your opinion on that?
Man, I think, I did a video about that earlier, man. I think this is the sink or swim fight for Teofimo Lopez. Personally, I feel like Josh Taylor is gonna knock him out cold. I think that Teofimo Lopez, I think we possibly have seen our best Teofimo Lopez moment in the Lomachenko fight in the bubble. Since then, we seen him drop by Kambosos. We seen him drop by Sandor Martin. We seen him have lackluster performances in those two fights. And then you're fighting arguably the best 140 pounder in the world and a top 10 pound for pound guy. And on top of that, Josh Taylor is a very aggressive guy. Like his level of aggression in the ring is different. Josh Taylor stays switched on. You get what I'm saying? So if Josh Taylor maybe is too aggressive, I could see Teofimo Lopez possibly landing the counter punch. But Josh Taylor is borderline a dirty fighter. Like, I'm gonna just be honest. That's my personal. When I watch Josh Taylor,
you talk about hitting in the clinch,
hitting in the clinch, hitting you on the halfway out the clinch, punching you as soon as the referee say break, all of that. And I'm not sure that Teofimo Lopez in England or in Scotland is going to be switched on enough to win a 12-round fight versus Josh Taylor without a Joey Gamache in his corner and just him and his dad. I don't think that. I don't believe that.
Yeah, I started off by saying, like, hey, listen, if I knew how Teofimo was 100% mentally and 100% physically and all that stuff, I wouldn't. It would probably be a 50-50 fight, and I would have to analyze who I would pick. But now it's like the fact that he's had pretty much three bad performances, because if you include the Kambosos fight, that's it was a closer fight, but he definitely didn't look good. So 3 bad performances in a row. Got dropped in your last fight. Arguably got dropped twice in your last fight against a southpaw, which Josh Taylor is. it's hard for me to pick him, and it's hard for me to make a proper assessment of how the fight would play out, because I don't know if this is the fight that clicks for him, or this is the fight where he just breaks down on some Oliver McCall, Lennox Lewis shit.
Oh man,
I don't know. I don't know. It's hard for me to pick him. I do hear the people making an argument that Josh Taylor is weight drained, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. And we can get into that. I'm not sure if you're one of those people that think that he's weight drained at the weight class, but I heard him in the past on interview with Michelle Joy Phelps the day before his fight, saying that, or 2 days before the fight, saying that he can make 140 for the rest of his career. He put out a tweet. I'll screen share it right now. He put out a tweet saying he's bigger, stronger, and faster. He put a picture of himself in the Ramirez fight. Look, he says, the pic on the left is me weighing on for Ramirez fight. The right was today. I'm bigger, stronger, and faster. Tomorrow, I'm going to be a beast. Look, and that's him at the Ramirez fight and here at the Catterall fight. So it's like, at some point, I got to use your words. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I got to take what you're saying serious. And what he was saying was, hey, man, I'm good at this weight. And then you have a bad performance. And then not only do you have a bad performance, you also show signs that you weren't drained. What I mean by that, when you're drained, usually start off normal. And then as the fight goes on, you have no gas left. You have no liquid in your body. And you start fading. The opposite happened. He started off slow and got stronger as the fight went on. So it's like, yo, bro, if you were weight drained, that's not how it would have played out.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't think he was weight drained. I think he was just making an excuse, especially since his next fight is going to be at 140. What's your opinion on that?
I try my best not to be the weight police. He didn't look drained to me. He said he wasn't drained. Now, could he have been maybe over celebrating, becoming undisputed, and maybe spent too much time out of the gym? Maybe took them belts on tour over in Scotland and doing a bunch of speaking engagements and club visits, and kind of didn't take Jack Catterall as serious as he took Jose Ramirez? Yeah, possibly. Do I think he was weight drained? I'm gonna believe him. No, I don't think he was weight drained. And another thing is, guys are allowed to have a bad fight. Like, you True. It's still. I don't think nobody in the last I'm gonna be light. I don't think nobody in the past 10 years got a record at 140 as good as his. I don't even think Crawford's undisputed run was as good as his run.
No, for sure it wasn't, because he got nobody on his resume that's as good as Prograis and Ramirez.
So Ramirez, and remember he beat an undefeated Baranchek for the IBF title. You know what I mean? He had some good wins. I mean, I'm not gonna say O'Hara Davies, but because he whatever, but you know what I mean?
No. But you're right. You're right, though. You're right.
Yeah, he had a very good run. Like, he had a very good run, and he's a pound for pound guy. I can't tell you 10 fighters that were better than Josh Taylor. Not from what I've seen. No way. So again, I think if Teofimo Lopez get this win, maybe he was just slumping, right? Maybe he was just slumping and having trying to adjust to the 140 weight class and all of that, but this is a legitimate win if Teofimo Lopez could pull this off.
I was before you hopped on, I was like, yo, Teofimo I know is talented. It just almost feels like he has the yips. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he just has the sports yips, and he needs to figure it out. He needs to fine-tune something. And I think part of the reasons he has the yips is he still hasn't accepted that loss to Cambosos. They set him up. He was robbed and this and that, and a whole bunch of excuses. And I think just mentally that's draining him, the fact that he lost. So I think definitely that's what's happening.
Hey, somebody need to go get the Looney Tunes, go get the bag with the basketball. You know what I mean? Give Teofimo some of Michael Jordan's special stuff, right? And then get his powers back. Tell him to touch the basketball so he can get his fucking powers back, man.
Yeah, my man said, bring that Space Jam water to him.
Yeah, give him the Space Jam water, man, because he ain't been looking good.
So changing topics. Triple G recently vacated his IBF belt and was immediately ordered to fight Erislandy Lara for the WBA belt that he has. and they have up until February 23rd to come to an agreement, or else the fight is going to purse bid. What's your opinion on that fight?
No, I think that's going to be a good fight. We've seen Erislandy Lara stand in the pocket. We've seen him move well. And lately he hasn't been moving as much. But I think it's going to be a good fight. But I just kind of don't know, because every time we see Erislandy Lara in the ring, it's never, well, not every time, but as of lately, it hasn't been no real competition. We've seen him with Spike O'Sullivan, Cornflake LaManna, some random guy in a bubble. I don't even remember who that guy was. And Triple G is Triple G. Triple G, it's like for some reason, he'll start off strong, maybe the first 1 through 3, and then in those mid rounds, he kind of really, really tapers off. And as the fight gets later, he just starts to pick it back up again. I think it's going to be a real good fight, because I don't think Lara can move like how he moved in that Canelo fight. I don't think that's that. Yeah, go ahead.
I just worry about Lara's activity level. Like, I know he fought on that Tank undercard, but before that, he had a first round knockout, and then before that, he had like a really long layoff. So, and he's somewhat of a rhythm fighter. They're both in their late 30s, so this is between two washed up middleweights. I honestly would hope that Lara would win, so that way that belt goes to the PBC side, and possibly Adames, if he's not elevated, he could vacate that interim and go get that belt. So, I don't know how to feel about this fight, because this is the fight I wanted like back in like 2013, but I'm like over it.
Exactly.
I'm like, all right, yeah, like I wanted it then. I don't want it now, which is honestly a trend in boxing, that we're getting fights way later than we actually want them.
Yeah.
Or you know what I'm saying? And even to some degree, and you may disagree, and which is fine. Even to some degree, Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez, when they were both undefeated champions, I wanted to see that fight then. Caleb Plant, David Benavidez goes on to lose his belt twice. One's due to cocaine, one's due to weight. Caleb Plant goes on to be knocked out. And now they're fighting for an eliminator. And you could say, like, so what? You're still getting the fight. But I feel like it had a little bit more illustrious, a little more glamour when it was two undefeated Americans, each champions, both taking their first big step up against each other. I liked it then. I still like the fight now, but even to a certain degree, even that fight, I'm like, man, I wish we could have got it a little earlier.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. With that fight in particular, the only reason I'm not really complaining, and I'm very much okay with it still happening now, because even though we didn't get that fight, those guys could damn near still never have an interview without the other guy being mentioned. There's legitimate bad blood there. You get what I'm saying? And granted, it's not even for no title, but it still feel like a title fight. Obviously, it's a pay-per-view fight. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, I like it. I think it's a good fight. Granted, now they should have given it to us before. I would have loved for this to be a unification fight. But again, you know, that's the sport we in now. But again, this fight in particular, I don't mind it being over marinated, because it still feel like the right time now. Like, now, granted, the before probably would have been for more. It would have been more importance behind the other fight. But I'm okay with this fight. I'm okay
with it too. I'm okay with it too, which is why I haven't criticized it. None of the times I went live or on Twitter. I just more like, if you look at it even from that standpoint, it's like, damn, even this fight, the fight that I'm excited for, it also could have happened earlier. And, you know, but maybe business wise, which again, I hate talking about business, maybe business wise, now is where it makes more sense, because I don't think back then the fight would have been a pay-per-view, for being honest with you.
No, it probably wouldn't have. It wouldn't have been a pay-per-view.
Yeah, so now, you know, maybe business-wise, but I just, you know, I still feel the way I feel. You know what I'm saying? That's still how I feel, and I'm gonna stand on it.
Yeah, I'm with you now for sure. For sure. How you feel about that Lee Wood Lara fight this weekend?
Oh man, I'm excited for that fight. I don't know if you know, but the featherweight division, and I don't mean currently, I mean just period, is always my favorite division. The featherweight division, I always seem to have a favorite fighter there and stuff like that. I love watching those. That division always produces good fights for me. Yeah. I'm giving Lee Wood a good shot. I'm not picking him, but people saying that Lara is just gonna run through him just like all of Mexico has run through the UK, which is funny because then you look at the record and it's like, damn, like is Mexico ever gonna lose to the UK? Yeah. But Lee Wood does have a good left hook. He does have dog in him. We seen that in that fight against Mick Conlan where, he was possibly losing the fight. We don't know. It was a 50-50 fight, and he got the knockout in the last round. So we know he has a gas tank. But I just feel like Lara is just too rough of a goon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Boom. And yeah, you may hit hard, but I hit hard too. And he hits you in the shoulders and the arms and the body and the chest and the nose and the jaw. And he's like he reminds me a lot. And I don't mean a little, I mean a lot of his fellow countryman, Orlando Salido. And if you remember Orlando Salido was just on you. He was definitely mauling the shit out of you. And I feel like he's kind of gonna maul and smother a lot of Wood's work and just overwhelm him. And I think he gets a stoppage. How do you see that fight?
Yeah, I think I feel the same way. I think Lee Wood can outbox him, but I like Lee Wood. I like his performance in the Zucan fight, right? But Zucan was coming off like a year or so layoff as well. So yeah, you had a great performance against a guy Zucan, but was that really Zucan? You know what I'm saying? He was clearly losing the Colin fight. He had got dropped already in the Colin fight and all of that.
I got dropped hard too.
Yeah. I thought he was over when he dropped.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying? So, but again, how much of a finisher is Michael Collin, right? I know Lara's a finisher. He's a finisher.
Lara's a fucking animal.
Yeah, and on top of that, remember, he didn't just walk through Josh Warrington. He took some shots early. Josh Warrington hurt Mauricio Lara early in that fight. And in the fight where he fought, it was the guy Sanchez. Remember, he ended up tackling the dude because the dude had Lara hurt that bad. He just finds a way to stay in the fight. Yeah, he finds a way to stay in the fight, and I think he's gonna go ahead and get the stoppage. I think it's gonna be some good rounds. But yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see now if betting purposes, I would put a little money on Lee Wood by decision or something like that. But I just don't see Lee Wood making it through 12 whole rounds with Mauricio Lara, bro.
No, also I'm looking at the box rate. Lee Wood is 34 and Mauricio Lara is 24. And I'm not sure what significance that has, but it definitely favors Mauricio Lara in the age department. Although
Lara 24,
that's what BoxRec says.
Man, that motherfucker look 40. Ain't no way.
Yo, hold on. Let me screen share because this motherfucker look older. His BoxRec pick and all that, man. Hold on 1 second.
24. When did he go pro?
Look right here. It says, look how old he look. I don't know how the fuck.
Yeah. He looked like Joet Gonzalez.
Let me see. He went pro. Damn, these BoxRec ads, man.
It's crazy. Nasty work.
Yo, it's like at some point I want to look. Now I can't even exit it out. I don't know. It's shit frozen. Whatever. Point is, that he has the age advantage, and I'm not sure what significance that has, but it's definitely not nothing. It's definitely something you just go, oh, whatever. Like it's only 10 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's significant. Sure. You can get old overnight, especially when a motherfucker punching you in that body and coming and dogging you out. You know what I'm saying?
And when was that? And that, if I'm not mistaken, that Colin fight was in like January, right? That Colin fight was in January or February last year?
Let me check. By the way, he went pro in 2015. Mauricio Lara.
That's okay.
Yeah,
but I could have sworn like it's going to be like a year out of the ring for Lee Wood.
Lee Wood fought in March.
Okay, so damn near a year.
11 months. And Mauricio Lara just fought not long ago, right?
Yeah, he just fought. He just got a stoppage.
Yeah,
like maybe 3 or 4 months ago.
No, in October. So he's definitely the more sharper fighter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the fight, the fact that the fight is in the UK really doesn't mean much because one, he's been to the UK before and got a stoppage, and two, I don't think this fight is going 12 either way. To be honest with you, if Lee Wood is gonna win, he's gonna win by knockout.
You think so?
Yeah, because again, Mauricio Lara is there to be hit. Is someone who, you know, took some shots from Warrington. I don't know if you remember that.
I just said that to you.
Oh, you did just say that. My bad.
Nah, and like I said, and even in the Sanchez fight, he had to. I was just watching the Sanchez fight earlier. He had to. He literally freaking tackled the dude.
Like, yeah, you're right. My bad. I'm bugging out. You know what it is? Reading comments and trying to fucking go and look at box rec and all this shit.
Yeah.
So my point is, and Lee Wood, I've seen him get one punch knockouts, and I'm of the type that if you get a one punch knockout, I don't give a fuck who it is. You know what I'm saying? That lets me know that you got that in your arsenal. Now, maybe, you know what I'm saying? One punch knockouts to me matter. And I've seen him do it before. I've seen him do it twice, to be honest with you. I've seen him do it against, I forget who the guy's name, some other British dude. And then I seen him do it in the Mick Conlan fight where he knocked him out of the ring. So I got to give you credit for those knockouts. I got to give you credits for those knockouts, especially against a guy who's a little bit defensively flawed and has been hurt before. So
exactly.
I give him a shot. I'm not picking him though. I think he's that tough enough where if he were to get hurt, he'll be able to dog and fight his way out of it. And I think he hits hard enough where Lee Wood is definitely going to be wary of just, you know, running up on him and trying to fight his fight. He'll get hurt if that shit happens.
Yeah, but I think Lee Wood is a good enough boxer to make it some rounds. I'm very curious to see what his game plan going to be. I don't think Lara.
You picking Lara by decision?
No, hell no. I think Lara going to stop him.
Oh, okay. No. You talk about he got this guy got boxing ability and this. I'm like,
no. What I'm saying is he does have boxing ability, but I'm curious to see what is his game plan going to be versus Lara? You get what I'm saying? So I know he got, and the reason why I said that because you mentioned him being not a strong guy. So he's a strong guy with good boxing ability, with good technical ability. But what's going to be your game plan for Lara? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because that dude can fight. So if Lara take your best punch and he's still coming, then what? I feel you. I mean, I do think he got that dog in him to fight it out with him. I just don't know if he has the durability. Durability to the last.
Yeah. I know Mauricio Lara got it, and yes, he's been hurt before, and yes, Wood is a puncher, but I just think he's tough enough, and he's one of those rough Mexicans. Again, he really reminds me a lot of Orlando Salido, and that's how Salido was. Salido would get hurt. I don't know if you remember that fight with Juan Manuel Lopez, particularly the second fight. He took a vicious right hook right at the end of the round, lucky for him. And he was on Queer Street, look hurt as fuck. The round ends, right? And then the next round comes out and just like, it's almost like you said, he had that Space Jam water and really beat up Juanma after that knockdown. And he was legitimately hurt. So it just, you know, some guys just have that gear. Once they get hurt, once they feel they're getting touched up, that's when they turn it up. Yeah. And that's kind of what I see in Lara. Lara's a goon. He's a tough dude, man.
Yeah, he for sure tough. For sure.
Yeah.
So we're going to see.
But Truth, thank you so much for hopping on the live, man. I appreciate you hopping on and having a conversation with me. It's definitely refreshing to talk to somebody who knows as much boxing as you do. Definitely, you always welcome on my channel. But before you go, I definitely want to screen share your page so my followers who are watching me, if you guys wondering, like, damn, this dude knows boxing. Who's this guy? Truth Joel keeps talking to. Does he have a YouTube channel? Absolutely, he has a YouTube channel, and you can go and subscribe and go follow him on his channel. Hold on 1 second, don't leave yet, because I know y'all curious. Go subscribe to my man A-Side Boxing Talk. My man,
yes, sir.
Truth. He's interviewed Erickson Lubin, David Benavidez, Rayo Valenzuela, who is Adel Santos' son, Diego Pacheco. I got to throw that in there. Gary Antoine Russell. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's interviewed some good dudes. Great interviews, man. Definitely a personal friend of mine. So if you want to support a friend of mine, definitely go to his channel, A-Side Boxing Talk. Anything else you want to leave out before I end the show?
Nah, that's it, man. You the voice, man. I appreciate you allowing me on the channel, man.
Nah, man, you good. Anytime I'm on, you're always welcome.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching the show. Hit that like and subscribe button. Also, go to A-Side Boxing Talk. Go subscribe to his channel. And I appreciate you guys. Until next time, guys. Peace.